Welcome back, everyone. Let's jump right in. Today, we're taking a magnifying glass to an incredibly important piece of paper you've almost certainly run into if you've ever dealt with property, but honestly, far too few of us actually take the time to understand it. We are diving into the dense legal labyrinth that is the New York State disclosure form for buyer and seller. By the end of this explainer, you are going to know exactly who is on your team, who definitely isn't, and what all that fine print actually means for your wallet.
Now, this form, it's not just a polite suggestion. It comes straight from the top, specifically the Department of State's Division of Licensing Services. State law literally requires real estate licensees, the folks legally qualified to advise you about real estate, to put this document in your hands. They have to use it to spell out the exact nature of your working relationship, along with all the rights and obligations that come with it. It's completely designed to protect you, even if reading it feels a bit like a legal eye exam.
So, to make sense of all this, we're going to break the whole shebang down into 6 quick sections, unpacking the disclosure form, your loyal representatives, the broker's agent, the dual agency dilemma, designated sales agents explained, and finally, making an informed choice.
Starting right off with Section 1, unpacking the disclosure form, the crucial rulebook for your real estate journey. Let's see how this sets the stage for your transaction by helping you make informed choices before any of the heavy negotiations begin.
Okay, right at the top of the page, there is a massive disclaimer literally screaming at you in all caps. Signing this document does not lock you into a contract. No way. It's absolutely not a binding agreement to buy or sell a single thing. It is purely a cheat sheet, there to detail your rights and explain exactly who is working for whom. To really wrap our heads around these relationships, we got to tackle a very specific legal term that pops up everywhere in this document: fiduciary duties. Basically, having an agent with fiduciary duties means you've got a fierce, loyal advocate fighting exclusively for your financial interests. Think of it kind of like having a top-tier legal defense team. Their one and only job is to protect you and your goals, no matter what.
And when an agent is truly in your corner, they owe you exactly 6 things, without limitation. We're talking reasonable care, undivided loyalty, strict confidentiality, full disclosure of the facts, obedience to your lawful instructions, and a duty to account for every single penny. If you hire an agent to represent you, these 6 pillars are exactly what you are entitled to.
Moving right along to Section 2, your loyal representatives, the key protagonists, sellers and buyers agents, let's look at the primary players who actually owe you that full, uncompromised range of fiduciary duties.
So, the real estate world is usually split into 2 main camps. On one side, you've got the seller's agent. Their sole job is to represent the seller's interests by securing a buyer at a price and on terms that make the seller happy. Crucially, they absolutely do not represent the buyer, period. On the flip side, the buyer's agent is an exact mirror. They're hired to negotiate the purchase of a home on terms acceptable to the buyer, and they never represent the seller. It's a really clean, straightforward division of loyalty.
But, it's not the Wild West out there. Even with that fierce loyalty to their own team, the law demands a baseline of human decency. Both types of agents legally have to deal fairly, honestly, and in good faith with the other side. They also have to disclose major material facts. So for a seller's agent, that means spilling the beans on known facts affecting the property's value. For a buyer's agent, it means disclosing anything that might affect the buyer's ability or willingness to actually close the deal.
All right, Section 3, the broker's agent, the assisting middleman. Here is where we introduce a slightly more complicated supporting character who cooperates to help locate a property or a buyer. Now, this is a super important point. The broker's agent does not work for your primary agent's firm. Let's translate a really scary-sounding legal phrase here: vicarious liability. Since you don't have a direct relationship with the broker's agent, you can't give them instructions directly. And because you don't direct them, you aren't legally responsible or vicariously liable for what they do. That headache belongs entirely to the main agent who hired them. It's a nice little buffer that keeps you protected.
Which brings us to Section 4, the dual agency dilemma when lines cross. Honestly, I consider this the narrative climax of the form. It's morally complex territory, and it's where you need to pay the absolute utmost attention.
Think about it like this. You'd never want your defense attorney also representing the guy suing you, right? So what happens in real estate when one single broker tries to represent both the buyer and the seller in the exact same transaction? Well, the state allows it, but only if both the buyer and seller give their informed consent in writing. But here is the massive, glaring catch.
The document explicitly warns you that a dual agent simply cannot provide the full range of fiduciary duties to either side. The agent has to carefully explain that by consenting to this, you are legally signing away your right to undivided loyalty. The form flat out tells you to weigh the consequences before agreeing to this setup. You are basically agreeing to hire a neutral referee rather than a personal coach.
That takes us to Section 5, Designated Sales Agents Explained, the complex compromise. Because dual agency is such a minefield of potential conflicts, the state offers a clever workaround called dual agent with designated sales agents.
Here's how this compromise plays out step by step. Step 1. The overarching real estate broker acts as a dual agent for both parties. Step 2. To create some separation, that broker designates one specific sales agent under their roof, Agent A, to solely advocate for the buyer. Step 3. The broker designates a totally different person, Agent B, to advocate for the seller in the negotiations.
Sounds like the perfect fix, doesn't it? You get your own advocate back. Well, actually, scratch that. Even with this separation, designated sales agents still cannot provide the full range of fiduciary duties. Because at the end of the day, they both report to the exact same dual agent boss. These designated agents are required by the form to look you in the eye and explain that they cannot provide true, undivided loyalty. Once again, the form is practically begging you to carefully consider what you're giving up.
Finally, Section 6, Making an Informed Choice. The power is in your hands. This is where it all comes together. Ultimately, all these definitions, warnings, and rules lead right to the bottom half of the page. This is where you actually grab a pen, declare exactly who you are, and legally acknowledge who the agent standing right in front of you actually represents. The form gives you super clear checkboxes. You just print the name of the licensee and their firm and check the box that accurately reflects the relationship being formed today. Getting this right ensures everyone is playing by the right rules from day one.
And there's one last section for advanced informed consent, basically pre-approving a dual agency situation before it even pops up, just in case that agent later finds a buyer for your house or a house for you to buy within their own firm. But before you scribble your signature and date the bottom of this form, I want you to ask yourself a really serious question. Are you truly prepared to sign away your biggest strategic advantage just to close the deal a little faster? It's your money, it's your loyalty, and ultimately, it is your choice. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.